afternoon, Cross Timbers. This is Texan TV News from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas. Today is July 8th, 2013, and I am Kaylee Bedingfield. In this week's headlines, a pilot in San Francisco crash had little experience with 777s, Cowboys lineman freed in intoxication manslaughter case, Texas House schedules abortion bill vote, Tarleton welcomes incoming freshmen with first duck camp for 2013, along with today's weather. And now for today's top story. Investigators have determined that Asiana Airlines Flight 214 was traveling significantly below the target speed during its approach and that the crew tried to abort the landing just before it smashed onto the runway, according to the Associated Press. What they don't know yet is whether the pilot's inexperience with the type of aircraft and at San Francisco's airport played a role. A day after the jetliner crash landed in San Francisco, killing 2 people and sending more than 180 to hospitals, officials said Sunday that the probe was also focusing on whether the airport or plane's equipment also could have malfunctioned. The South Korea government announced Monday that officials will inspect engines and landing equipment on all Boeing 777 planes owned by Asiana and Korean Air, the national carrier. 305 of 307 passengers and crew survived the crash, and more than a third didn't even require hospitalization. Only a small number were critically injured. During the descent, with their throttles set to idle, the pilots never discussed having any problems with the plane or its positioning until it was too late. The airline said Monday in Seoul that the pilot at the controls had little experience flying that type of plane and was landing one for the first time at that airport. The flight originated in Shanghai, China, and stopped over in Seoul, South Korea, before making the nearly 11-hour trip to San Francisco. On audio recordings from the air traffic tower, controllers told all pilots in other planes to stay put after the crash. All runways are closed. Airport is closed. San Francisco Tower, said one controller. Of the 291 passengers on board, 141 were Chinese. At least 70 Chinese students and teachers were on the plane heading to summer camps, according to education authorities in China. The coroner said senior San Francisco Fire Department officials notified him and his staff at the crash site on Saturday that one of the 16-year-olds who was killed may have been struck on the runway. He said that he expects the autopsy to be completed by Monday. It will involve determining whether the girl's death was caused by injuries suffered in the crash or, quote, a secondary incident. He said he did not get a close enough look at the victims on Saturday to know whether they had external injuries. The coroner said one of the bodies was found on the tarmac near where the plane's tail broke off when it slammed into the runway. The other was found on the left side of the plane about 30 feet away from where the jetliner came to rest after it skidded down the runway. In national news, Cowboys lineman Josh Brent has been released from jail where he landed after testing positive for drugs while free on an intoxication manslaughter charge. Dallas County Jail officials says Brent was freed Sunday morning by court order. An attorney for Brent didn't immediately return a message for comment Monday. Police say Brent was driving a car that crashed December 8th in Irving. The wreck killed his friend and Cowboys practice squad player Jerry Brown. Records show Brent's blood alcohol level was more than twice the legal limit for driving. Prosecutors filed a motion to have Brent's $100,000 bond revoked after 2 drug tests indicated marijuana in his system. He was jailed June 27th. A judge had discretion on how long to keep Brent in custody before a trial later this year. In state news, the AP reports the Texas House has scheduled a Tuesday vote on abortion restrictions bill that has prompted rallies that have drawn thousands to the state capitol in recent weeks. The Senate has started a Monday hearing on the bill, and anti-abortion groups have scheduled a nighttime rally at the Capitol. More than 370 were registered to testify at the Senate hearing. Staff was still counting witness cards of nearly 2,000 more. Bill supporters are wearing blue, opponents are wearing orange. Governor Rick Perry has promised the Republican majority in the legislature will pass the bill that was stalled by a Senate filibuster on June 25th. That event turned Texas into a flashpoint in the national debate over abortion. The House passed the bill in the previous special session. In campus news, approximately 400 incoming freshman students invaded the Tarleton campus on Sunday in excitement for Duck Camp, an orientation camp hosted by Tarleton Transition and Family Relations. According to Tarleton's website, it is a 3-day camp that gives incoming students the opportunity to make the transition from high school to college easier by meeting new people and learning the heritage and traditions of Tarleton. The camp is hosted at Green Family Camp in Bruceville, Texas, and includes 3 days of fun activities led by Duck Camp leaders who are current Tarleton students. The activities include leadership activities, Tarleton traditions, and the well-noted Waddle Olympics, where students participate in team-building activities. Tarleton Transition and Family Relations hosts 3 DUCS camps, including a Texan camp, which is for incoming transfer students. Former Tarleton student and DUC camp leader Brooke King says that the biggest benefits for the campers are the connections that can be made and the networking opportunities with administration and staff. King also said that it allows a time for a student to really get the chance to learn what Tarleton is really about and how different it is compared to other schools. She continued to say that by going to DUC camp, a student can feel a little bit more at ease when it comes to leaving home and transitioning into a college student. According to the Weather Channel, today's forecast is a high of 94 degrees and a low of 72 with a mix of clouds and sun and a 10% chance of precipitation. I'm Kaylee Bedingfield. Thanks for tuning in to Texan TV News, a product of the Texan News Service. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter and check out our website at texannews.net for all of the latest news from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas.